right, so looking at our temperature lesson for today, hopefully you watched your vocabulary video. We're going to be going over this a little bit more in our lesson. We know that temperature is the measure of how hot or cold something is. And in the US, we use degrees Fahrenheit, which is the customary unit of temperature. And to read a thermometer, we find the number closest to the top of the red bar and use the scale along the side like a number line. So if we look to the right here, we can see water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit and water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we think about that, we know that from probably around 40 and below, it's pretty cold. And then we know from about 70 and above, it's definitely hot, okay? So normal room temperature on our Go Math tells us it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Our vocabulary video told us it was 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything around that number would work, okay? And our normal body temperature is 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we look at this thermometer and we look at where this lands, you can see that on this side we're counting by tens. We're counting by tens on this side as well, so it kind of goes like this: 50, 55, 60, 65. So these two lines here are 65. Okay, so these two lines are 70. If we move up and we count 1, 2, this is going to be 72 degrees. The activity here is something you can do at home if you have a thermometer. You can estimate what it's like outside temperature-wise, and then you can record it here in this chart, or you can create one of your own at home. Number 1 asks, how did each of the actual temperatures compare to normal room temperature? Considering that we're getting into summer here, I know today it's probably going to be around that normal room temperature. So you're probably going to have around that normal room temperature or above, because it's going to get hot this week. So number 2 asks us about outdoor activities. So we have to choose which Fahrenheit, which degree is better for each of these activities, okay? So if this little girl is sled riding, it's below freezing, and we know freezing is 32. So it's not going to be 75, it's going to be 20 degrees Fahrenheit. But this little boy is building a sandcastle at the beach. And if it was 32 degrees there, it would be freezing cold. So we have to know that 90 degrees Fahrenheit is what the little boy, the temperature at the beach, okay? All right, so coming down, we also learned that the metric unit of temperature is degrees Celsius, okay? And the thermometer is different for that, okay? Sometimes Celsius is a little bit easier. Same thing with the metric units in general, but water freezes at Celsius at 0, okay? So we know that below that is freezing, okay? Normal room temperature is around 20 degrees Celsius. Normal body temperature is around 37 degrees Celsius. And then water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, okay? If you'd like to do the same activity for Fahrenheit, you can do that and just check one side or the other side of your thermometer and estimate. And again with this, once we're at 0 and below, that's freezing. So it's pretty cold around 10, okay? Normal room temperature is 20, and then body temperature is 37. So anything above that is hot, all right? So looking at the outdoor activities shown below, says choose the better temperature using Celsius. Remember that 0 degrees Celsius is freezing, okay? So 32 is actually going to be a little warmer, and they're ice skating. So the water freezes. It's going to be 0 degrees Celsius. This lady is gardening outside. If it were 0 degrees Celsius, she would be freezing, okay? So this one is going to be 15 degrees Celsius. All right, so write the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit for these thermometers. We're going to look here. This says 45, and so for me, it looks like this one is going to be 46 degrees. Make sure you have your little degree sign, Fahrenheit. Number 2, it looks directly at 10 degrees Fahrenheit. I have to make my degree sign a little bigger. Look at this thermometer. This is something that we haven't seen before. This is a thermometer that you might use in a refrigerator to keep the temperature, okay? So if we look, it's very close to 70 and it's one past. So I'm going to say that this is 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? So this is just another example of a thermometer. You want to use the scale to help you. Now we're going to do our degrees in Celsius. So if we look at our line here, we can tell that this is 10, 15, and 20. So in between 15 is 16, 17, and 18. So this is going to be 18 degrees Celsius. Again, we have the round thermometer. And in between 40 and 50 is 45. It looks like there's a little line there, and I think it passes that. So this is going to be 46 degrees Celsius. And here again, we have 30, 31, and that looks like 32 degrees Celsius. All right. We're going to choose the better temperature for the activity. So 1 degree Celsius or 33 degrees Celsius for the snowman. Well, we know freezing is at 0 degrees, so 1 degree Celsius is going to be our best bet. And for this little girl here, she is riding her bike, and we're doing Fahrenheit for this one. So you have to make sure you look to see, oh, we're at Fahrenheit, okay? So 75 degrees Fahrenheit is a good temperature to ride your bike. If it were 42, it would not be a good temperature. You might have to bundle up a little bit, okay? And then doing these two on our own, it's 3 degrees Celsius outside. What is an activity that Brandon might do at this temperature? What clothes do you think he might wear? Well, if we remember with Celsius, 0 degrees Celsius is freezing. So 3 degrees is probably really cold. Maybe there's some snow outside. What could he do? Well, he could build a snowman, have a snowball fight, right? He could potentially ice skate, okay? And he definitely wants to wear his warmer clothes, maybe a snowsuit, a snow jacket, a hat, some gloves, some earmuffs. That would be good for him to do. And then the last one we're going to do today for temperature, Lauren is wearing shorts and a pair of sandals. For each of these, 10A through D, choose yes or no to tell whether Lauren's clothing is reasonable for the outdoor temperatures. So we have 2 Fahrenheits and then 2 Celsius. So 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing. So I don't think that shorts and sandals are going to work for 45 degrees Celsius. Or Fahrenheit, excuse me. So I'm going to say no. Looking at 29 degrees Celsius, well, we know that 0 degrees Celsius is freezing. And we know, what do we say about room temperature? Well, what we can do is we can scroll up a bit. Oh, normal body temperature is 37, and oh, room temperature is 20. So if we go back, 29, that sounds like a good temperature to go out in sandals and shorts. So I'm going to say yes for this one. Now look here, we went back to Fahrenheit. If we think about Fahrenheit and 86 degrees, sorry for the dogs, that's going to be a yes. We want to go outside in our sandals and shorts in 86 degrees Fahrenheit. But when it comes to 10 degrees Celsius, that's really close to freezing. So I'm going to say no with that. All right, now that you've done your lesson, go ahead and move on to your slides.